In this week's Northwoods Adventure, Shane Lee flies into the past to find out what the holidays may have been like for a young Charles Lindbergh in his Little Falls home.
The year is 1918 at the Charles Lindbergh Historic Site in Little Falls. A 16-year-old Lindbergh is spending his first winter in Minnesota with his mother.
She's been separated from her husband since the first house burned. CA never lives in this house. No divorce because it would have been political suicide for him.
The separation of Mr. and Mrs. Lindbergh could be the reason why Christmas was not celebrated to a great extent in the household.
The first house, the Lindberghs would have had a whole different type of celebration because they were entertaining people of wealth and stature, and Mr. Lindbergh would have been here. And so Christmas here in 1918 is much, much different than it was maybe 11, 12 years ago.
Charles Lindbergh wrote down most important events in his journal, but he never mentions Christmas. So that leads us to believe it was not a big deal, so you won't see any decorations outside the house, and the only thing inside is a Christmas tree. The Lindberghs do have a phonograph to help lift the holiday spirit.
The theme is celebrating the holidays. The war is over because we do 1918, so the war ended back earlier in November, the 11th. So it's more of the theme of the hope for the new year.
Before the new year arrived, Charles had to dig a well in the basement because the underground pipes from the barn's well froze. Lindbergh dug down 25 feet and built a pump and all the plumbing in the house.
This is an exhaust that runs into the chimney. The water is pumped up to the wood stove. Of course, it's burning wood, goes through the wood stove, goes into that sidearm heater. They had hot water to wash their clothes, hot water to wash their dishes.
In the previous year, Lindbergh followed a more modern tradition of spending the holidays in a warmer climate. Charles drove his mother and uncle to California in a 6-cylinder Saxon. The trip took 40 days.
They actually buried this car in the clay in Missouri. The wooden wheels would break, the tires would fall off the car. It wasn't really well built. It wasn't as rugged as the Ford. Charles would have to fix the car alongside the road.
The family returned from California the following year. One can only guess what Lucky Lindy hoped to find under the tree for his first Christmas in Minnesota. Shane Lee, Lakeland News.
If you've enjoyed this segment of Lakeland News, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution to Lakeland Public Television.